Belos is one of my favorite villains in modern day media. A near omnipotent megalomaniac willing to do anything and everything to achieve his goals. The best comparison I can think of is Lord Shen from Kung Fu Panda. Ruthless, powerful, and most important of all, truly believed in what he was doing. How so? Well, first, nowadays most villains don't really have a reason for their villainness, besides either for taking over the world, being an overbearing parent, or just generally being a bigoted douche. And while Belos could be classified as one of these examples, it's not like he was doing this for no reason. In fact, this entire story could be traced to a single throwaway line from Ida.
Witches eating babies is so 1693.
The show never mentions this again, probably to avoid any confusion as to who were the bad guys, but 1693 is quite a specific year, isn't it? I believe that this is actually a reference to Hocus Pocus and the Sanderson sisters, but canonically, there was indeed a period of time where witches ate human babies. Now I could be doing my usual thing and completely overanalyzing this, but let's ignore that. We know that Belos came from an olden time period, kind of a pilgrim-esque time period based on the photos that we see. Well, 1693 is smack dab in the middle of the pilgrimage in the United States, and considering Connecticut, where Luz canonically lives in, is where the initial pilgrims would have landed, it isn't far off to assume Belos is of pilgrim heritage. Another reason why 1693 is a standout year is that one of the most infamous moments in history was going on, the Salem witch trials. The Salem witch trials? Hopefully I pronounced that correct. If you haven't heard of this, a brief look at Wikipedia shows that the Salem witch trials was a period of mass chaos where hundreds of innocent people were accused of being witches. It's actually very interesting and a real-life scenario of the dangers of misinformation. But the thing to get from all of this is that witch hysteria was at an all-time high during this time period. And if Belos was a young wee lad during this time, well, of course he'll fight to the end to defend his people. And this leads me to ask you, did Belos initially have good intentions? There's something important that I haven't said yet. Belos wasn't always Belos. Initially, he was Philip, a smart, witty, normal human, nor was Philip alone. He had his older brother, Caleb, and according to Masha, the two came to Gravesfield, Luz's eventual hometown, in 1613. Although that doesn't really make sense since the picture shows it was founded in 1635 and there's no way two random brothers would... Moving on. It was there that the two decided to be witch hunters, probably to protect their small village. But then, as Masha expertly puts it, Big Bro got a hot witch girlfriend and Little Bro didn't like it. But did Philip know that Caleb genuinely loved Evelyn? Or was Caleb brainwashed? Again, Philip, being younger, more immature, and most definitely full of hatred towards witches, for all he knew, Caleb was being experimented on, mind-controlled, or even worse. Now what do you think? Would a young person such as Philip during this time period be completely evil, or just misinformed? Obviously, I'm not stating that Philip killing his brother was justified. In fact, legal disclaimer, please do not stab your brother. But for real, this is the first good representation of the merits and flaws of humans. Philip risked his life to protect those around him, but at the same time, he was so full of hatred against witches that he wouldn't believe his own brother and ended up killing him since he went against him. This is something we see more throughout the show, and I really love how the show delves into this flaw of not only humans, but witches as well. The next time in the show that we see Philip is when Luz time travels to the past. By now, Philip's been in the Boiling Isles for some time, and he also hasn't fully turned into Belos yet, but as we will see, he is rapidly transforming into him. This is due to Philip literally carving the glyphs into his hand, which has backfired immensely against him. It is also revealed to the viewers that Philip wasn't a good person. Shocker. But after this, Philip managed to convince the Collector to teach him magic and the draining spell, and over the course of centuries, he managed to trick the people of the Boiling Isles under his new identity, Belos, making them weaker by splitting up their magic, falsely saying that the Savage Ages were a time of chaos when he was the one orchestrating it. Belos really did pull out all the stops. You gotta hand it to him. And, as we see through Belos' memories, he commits a bunch of war crimes and all other sorts of nasty stuff. And I know this looks bad, but Belos wasn't at complete fault here. Now, hear me out. Through the Coven Heads and Odalia, we know that there were witches who were willing to sacrifice their own people for personal gain. This goes to show that not all witches were good, and even Belos couldn't believe how willing they were to go along with his plan. Remember that Belos was doing all this in the name of protecting humans, and this can be seen when he gives Luz multiple chances to flee and protect herself, even sparing her after she had attacked him multiple times. It was only when Luz tricked him with the Coven Sigil that Belos started to go full evil against her, since now it was clear whose side she was on. Beforehand, who knows? Perhaps she, like Caleb, had been brainwashed. The reason I'm stating all this is because even after centuries, Belos still held it out for humans. Perhaps this was the reason why he wanted Luz back in Season 1. He wanted to protect her. Whether or not that's the case is up to you. And whether or not Belos had good intentions is something I want you to think on. Hey everyone, short video, I know, it's been 4 months! You can blame 2D animated RPGs and Dimension 20 for that. Oh, and also college. But hey, college is hard, who knew? I'm currently watching The Ghost and Molly McGee, which I'm enjoying very much, and will also start Season 2 of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur soon. I'll have some stuff cooking up, hopefully, so stay tuned, and thank you all for the continuous support. See ya!